everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie Despicable Me 4. This is going to be a spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So Despicable Me 4 is an animated comedy film produced by Universal and Illumination, distributed by Universal. It's a sequel to Despicable Me 3, the fourth in the main installment and the sixth overall. They made a couple Minions movies as well. In this movie, Gru and his family are forced to relocate to a safe house to hide from Maxime Le Mal, an old rival of Gru who seeks revenge for his with his girlfriend Valentina. At the same time, one of their new neighbors, Poppy Prescott, is intent on returning Gru to villainy. So overall, I thought the cast was great. We've got Steve Carell and Kristen Wiig back from the last couple movies. Will Ferrell is in here. Will Ferrell, rather, is in here as Maxime Le Mal, the villain. It was funny. I couldn't tell who he was for the longest time. I'm sitting there going like, I know this voice. Who is it? But he's doing a French accent. So finally, like toward the end of the movie, he did something. I'm like, oh, it's Will Ferrell. Okay, fine. Joey King plays Poppy Prescott. She's doing a funny kind of lisp thing with her voice that I think works for the younger kind of character. Sofía Vergara is in here as Valentina, Maxime's girlfriend. She's good as well. I like her a lot. Stephen Colbert plays the new neighbor. I don't know why I keep doing this. Stephen Colbert plays the new neighbor, and of course he and Steve carell were friends, and they've worked together for years. So that's pretty funny. Chloe Fineman plays the other neighbor, his wife. Steve Coogan, I really liked him as Silas Ramsbottom. I think he's been in some of the other movies and the Minion movies and stuff, but yeah, he's a funny character. I like that actor. Pierre Coffin, he does all the Minions. He's always doing all the Minions. He's great. Miranda Cosgrove and Dana Gaier is back as Edith and Margot, the older daughters, and then they had to replace Agnes because the actress grew out of it. So they've got Madison Polan in there. I thought she was great. I thought she did a really good job. Music in this was really good. It was done by Hector Pereira. He's done all the previous Despicable Me movies. He's also worked on like Gladiator and Road to El Dorado. He's done music for like Simply Red and Elton John, so he's been all around. And then Pharrell Williams also contributed like songs and themes to it. So, and he's of course a musician. He does Happy and all that kind of stuff. And the soundtrack is great in this. We've got a couple Pharrell Williams songs, Despicable Me and Happy. I think Despicable Me was an older song, but Happy I think is for this movie. Word Up by Cameo is always a fun one. Unbelievable by EMF. I like that song. Hot for Teacher by Van Halen. I'm Too Sexy. Right Said Fred. Karma Chameleon. And Everybody Wants to Rule the World. We don't get the originals, but the characters sing those songs. All great songs, and there's even more in there. They always do a really good job with with soundtracks in these movies, and I think it's partially probably because DreamWorks, I think, owns it, or Universal, I guess, owns it, so they've got probably the catalog. I don't know, but I've said before the first Minions movie has like a really great like '60s soundtrack. It's very funny to me. I really like the character designs in this. Of course, a lot of these are old characters we've seen before, but they seem like they've really kind of refined them and updated the quality and stuff. And I really like the Silas Ramsbottom character. Something about his big kind of jowly mouth and the way it kind of moves and stuff. I really enjoyed that character. And overall, I think they all look pretty good. I think I really like the animation style and quality. It does seem like they really kind of stepped it up, and it's kind of increased. It's gotten a little better over the years, which makes sense, with time and technology and everything like that. The movie's it's very cute and sweet. There's a lot of cute, sweet little moments in there that I think totally work, but it's also funny. I think there's a part where they do like they should see in the trailer where they do sort of a Spider-Man parody, and one of the minions tries to stop the train, and then it bounces back and ends up flying into a building and everything. Like that was really funny. A lot of that superhero stuff was pretty funny to me. And the Minions, I'm not a huge Minions fan, but they worked in this for me because they were used somewhat sparingly and not too much. But yeah, I think they worked. There's a woman in the supermarket who was mad at oh God, Judith. I forget the wife's name. But who was mad at Lucy, and she's sort of chasing them down through the supermarket, and they do this thing where she like is trying to hide from her, and then she bursts through like the shelves or whatever. That was I thought funny and well done, like the way they did it. It was clever and interesting and fun to watch. And I really like too. There's a scene where they're sitting there drinking, and she finishes her drink. It always bothers me in movies when the characters don't finish their drinks when they go to leave. And I like that she not only finished her drink, but also the other person's drink, which was like, hey, there you go. And of course, in animation, it's a lot easier. Actors probably get tired of doing it, but I like that. I thought that was really funny. Like I said, I thought very cute and sweet. I really enjoyed that. I thought the little girl, especially the youngest girl, was it Edith? I said her name a second ago. Agnes. Agnes was just very cute and very sweet. And of course, that's what they do with that character. But it was great. I liked her whole thing about not wanting to change her name and not wanting to lie to people, and her thing with the goat. They brought the goat back and everything. That was really fun. The honey badger stuff was funny too. At first, I'm like, really, honey badger? Honey badger? That's like such an old reference. The honey badger don't care and all that stuff. But it worked. It was funny. It didn't really make any sense, but I liked it. And the honey badger was cute, so that makes sense. There was some kind of clever little like wordplay in here, like the laissez pas bon. Yeah, I don't speak French, but that means like high school not good. And then Principal Übel Schlecht, which means like Principal Bad Bad. So like that's kind of funny. There's some stuff like that. It was cool to see all the old villains pop up at the end from the previous movies. And I did like the whole thing with the baby Junior who never wants to say Dada, but then finally does say Dada at the end, and sort of doesn't really like Gru and keeps kind of messing with them and intentionally making bad stuff happen to him. But then eventually they find a sort of yeah, the baby calls him Dada. So that's cute. As far as what I dislike about the movie, there is a lot going on. There's just, there's the whole they're in witness protection, and then once that happens, you've got the minions are now doing superhero stuff, and then Gru's got this thing going on with Poppy where she's like trying to force him to steal the mascot, and then Lucy's got this thing where she's a hairdresser, but she ruined this woman's hair, so she's running away from her. And then the girls have their whole thing where Edith doesn't want to lie and use a different name, and it seems like they were just throwing everything at the wall in a lot of ways, and it all kind of comes together in some ways, and it's all mostly resolved, but it did seem a little bit like almost like watching a TV show, and you were just watching like the finale of like an 8 episode show that had building up toward all this because there was a lot going on. I mean, it's a little bit of sensory overload. There's definitely times there's just so much going on that I'm just like, I can't even process what's happening right now. And I do feel like in a lot of ways, a lot of this is mostly for kids. There is some stuff there for adults, like I said, some kind of, little sort of clever jokes and wordplay and stuff. But for the most part, it's not like, I feel like, and I try not to compare movies too much, but it's easy to explain in some ways that, like, let's say the Pixar movies or a lot of the Disney movies will make sort of clever little jokes, or even the Shrek movies that are like parents get but kids don't get. And this didn't do it as much, or if it did, I didn't get them. I didn't notice them. I mean, I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities. So like there was like the principal bad and the high school not good, but like I just remember seeing at some point they showed like some rappers and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool, maybe there'll be like little jokes on the rappers, like a chicken fat kind of Mad Magazine thing. But no, Chocolate just said chocolate. And like whatever beans just said beans or whatever they were. And I'm just like, okay, and maybe you don't have to do that. Maybe that's a little hacky to throw in all those extra jokes, but I was expecting some of that, like jokes on the marquees and stuff. Simpsons do that kind of stuff a lot. And I know it's been going on for a while. Mad Magazine, there was a guy who did it there. But yeah, I just kind of, if nothing else, just at least come up with, creative names for the brands that you have. They're like make the world feel lived in, because and they don't have to be jokes, they don't have to be funny names or anything, but like, instead of calling it chocolate bar, call it like Zoom bar or something, or I don't know. So just stuff like that, where it just seemed like just some missed opportunities for like jokes or something like that. So other than that, the movie is directed by Chris Renaud. He did the first two Despicable Me movies, not the third one for some reason. I don't know why. And Secret Life of Pets. It's directed by him and Patrick Delage, who did Despicable Me 2. Then he worked on Hercules and Sing 2, and he's worked on a bunch of other animations in various degrees. And then it's written by Mike White, who he wrote School of Rock and Orange County, and then the White Lotus TV show, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is really good. Which I was really surprised to see his name in the credits. I'm like, oh, really, Mike White? Okay, that's cool. I like Mike White. I think he did Roger Dodger too, and a bunch of stuff that I like. And it was also written by Ken Daurio. So the two of them together. Ken Daurio wrote the first Despicable Me, or co-wrote it. I also worked on Bubble Boy and Horton Hears a Who. So a budget on this movie is $100 million, which is, I think, pretty standard for these Despicable Me movies. And from what I remember, a little higher than, say, like Kung Fu Panda 4, I think. But it's already made $230 million. So 122 million of that was domestic. So it's pretty much already profitable, probably. I don't know what they spent on marketing, but usually if you double it, if you use that equation, then yeah, movies it's fine. It's doing great, just like all the other Despicable Me's. They usually cost about 100 million to make, I think, and they usually make about 600 or 700 million. So they're going to keep making them because why not? It's a cash cow, But I will say this one is not getting great scores, at least not from the critics. Critics are at 53% on this one, and the audience is at 90%. So the audience is mostly liking it. Critics are a little more harsh on it. And actually, I think I side more with the audience on this one. I enjoyed this movie for the most part. And like I said, much like in the last one, they had to recast Agnes again because age requirements. But yeah, I think overall I like this movie. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't great. It wasn't, the best movie ever. It didn't transcend the genre like, say, Inside Out 2 just did recently. But it was definitely much better than like Garfield. It was definitely something that like it's made for kids, but I didn't mind watching it as an adult. And I took my niece to see this, who's 17, so probably also a little older than the target demographic age. But yeah, I think we both enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty good, but not the best thing ever. Good soundtrack. So yeah, my score on this one's going to be a 7 out of 10. It was fine. I enjoyed it. I'd probably watch it again. You know, if I had kids and they wanted to watch this a bunch, I wouldn't hate it. I probably would eventually, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So, but if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.